Technical difficulties, apparently. Technical difficulties. I'm usually not the one that's running that part of the show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Troy. I am the co-founder and lead investigator for the M.A.P.S team. Sitting beside me is Dave. I just want to say it's good to be back. It's been a long time since I've been on a podcast.
You missed the show for what, a couple months now?
Yeah, I missed it for a couple months just because of my work schedule, just getting all crazy and everything else. But I am so glad to be back. With us today, special guest is the Sinster Sisters Paranormal Investigations. Welcome, ladies.
Hey.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Well, first off, we'll start. How did you guys get into the path of paranormal investigations?
Well, different paths, I guess.
Yeah.
Is the right answer to that. I ended up, I kind of stumbled upon meeting someone who was a part of another team.
Okay.
I don't know how we were at a brewery, and I don't know how we got started on talking about the paranormal, but we did. And then she said, well, I'm part of an all-girl team, and, why don't you reach out to, our founder and see if we're taking any new members. And so I did. And at that time, she said, not at the moment, they weren't taking any. And then I went to another Paracon in the area, and they happened to be there. And so I got to meet all of them, and they were like, you're wonderful. Let's give you a shot, So the rest is kind of history from there. I lasted with them about 2 years or so, maybe a little over that. And then, Jen and I worked together in our 9-to-5 day jobs. And so I've been talking to her about all of the investigations. And then I started towards the end. She came on a few of them with us. So then after that, we were kind of like, ooh, well, we could do this. We could start our own. So.
Okay.
Right on.
Yep.
Right on.
So what was your first investigation you guys ever went on as a team?
Recent.
Yeah. We had our launch investigation last month at Old South Pittsburgh. So what was that? August, the end of last year, August 28th or something like that. I can't remember.
Okay.
I think it was the 31st.
31st. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That was it.
What kind of activity did you guys get on that one?
Oh my gosh. So much. So much.
You can
everything really. EVPs,
stuff on thermal. We have a
Thermal.
thermal camera.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of shadow figures standing in a hallway where it used to be patient rooms, and in front of every door of the patient room there was a shadow figure standing there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good activity.
Yeah.
Ladies, could you tell our viewers what your group is all about?
Yeah.
You want to do it?
I mean, we just kind of, I didn't even know that there was a paranormal community before I met Rachel. And so with us kind of starting up this group, we just really want to, I like the way that you word it, Rachel. Like, she has this whole, just basically open up the paranormal community to people who may not know that it's there, kind of bring in the new generation that may not be so familiar with it. You have so many people that express an interest in it, but nobody really knows that there's anything you can do with it, that you can actually do.
Okay.
On.
You got so many people going off, the TV show, I watch Ghost Hunters and all this and that. I can do that. And then they end up screwing up the places for everybody because they don't have no clue what they're doing.
Right.
Yep.
So that's definitely our mission, is that we want to educate them, kind of give them the tools that we use, let them use the equipment, let them actually see what it's like to investigate instead of just trying to go out there and, like you said, end up ruining it for the rest of
everybody. Yeah, or else they could make more harm than they're doing good.
Right.
Yeah, right. By bringing something You know, you never know what they're opening up or.
Yeah, here's a great idea. Let's take an Ouija board. I don't know nothing about ghost hunting. Let's take it to
Yeah.
a very high location. Let's see what happens.
I know.
Hard pass.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
In 20 years, I ran into a few people that did that. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Did you ever work at a Ouija board before? No. Are you doing anything with No. Then why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah.
That's basically what they usually get. Like, I see him do it on TV. I can do it. No.
Yeah.
No.
But the thing they don't tell you on TV is you got to close the portal or whatever.
Exactly.
Some of them just walk away.
Yeah.
Okay, this is fun. Let's go.
They don't walk. Something happens. They get scared. They take off running and just leave everything the way it is.
Yeah.
That kind of cracks me up on those guys that do that. That I've seen a few of them. You know, something will happen and then they run away from what they're actually looking for.
Oh God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We've talked about that.
Yeah.
We've talked about that many times. It's like why you're there asking it to make a noise, to give you a sign, to say something, and when it happens, you run.
Freak out.
Yeah. I had this one guy probably 15, 16 years ago. He wanted to go. He's never been on one. It happened that we had an investigation that night, and there was a cemetery. It was an old church, and there was a cemetery there, and he had nothing to do with it. And he talked like he was all big in that. And all of a sudden, there was this different. I think it was a temperature change, and it was probably like October, end of September, and I'm like, it's a normal thing. But apparently, he freaked out. He ran and smoked a tree, so he got 12 stitches that night. And he never went again, ever. I said, no, you can't come along. It wasn't even a paranormal thing. It was end of September, October is what happens. The temperature changes.
Yeah.
But it dropped like 3 or 4 degrees, and he dropped the freaking infrared meter, and zoom, and dunk.
Yeah.
Right into a tree.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what happens when you don't have educated people that go on investigations. They don't know what they're doing, and they get hurt or they do something that they shouldn't do and makes the situation worse than it is. It should be.
Have you ladies ever run into anything like that?
Not yet. Not to say that it might not ever happen, but
it's early. It's early.
Yeah. So I think we try to kind of set, like, before we start the investigation, set some ground rules, some guidelines, some standards, and, just set the expectation of, even what appropriate behavior is, during the investigation, and, that there are certain things that just will not be tolerated. Exactly. So, yeah.
Do you run through a mock trial then before the investigation with them? What people that haven't done before, like a pre-investigation, just a little bit more in depth?
Yeah.
Or do you just go?
We just dove right in.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think a lot of it's kind of time dependent too. I mean, because you get to these locations, even if you're there for 8-9 hours, I mean, that just flies by.
Oh,
so, taking the time to do something like that, I mean, that would be ideal, but maybe if we had a couple days at a location.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So a lot of these we find, and I'm sure you guys are well aware of how expensive it is to sometimes get into these locations.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's why a lot of these we don't usually pay for them. So I know they're expensive.
Yeah.
But we do get permission to actually
we get the permission
go
to go
on their property and do that stuff.
Of course.
Or we get phone calls from people saying, hey, there's something funny going on at my house. Can you come and check it out? So we've done that a few times.
And then with my connection in the paranormal field, I have my contacts. So most of them are out of state, so where I can go there without having to have to pay or do that. But that's 20 some years of knowing these people. And back when you started and these haunted locations just started coming up, they didn't even really want somebody to come there. They'd say that they're haunted because, hey, we're just remodeling this for an historic site, but I can't keep employees. Well, can you come and check it out? But we won't really want to make this public. Well, your place is really haunted. And then a couple years later, hey, can you get that evidence of the place? We're going to turn it into a haunted hotel or a haunted site. And it's like, okay. Yeah, back
Yeah.
in 99, 2000, you didn't hear too many people talking about going on investigations because it wasn't as big as it is now. Well, that was help for TV and that too, but it wasn't public, and we didn't have Facebook and all this podcast stuff. We had books. Big old freaking brick cameras.
Big old camera about this big.
Freaking brick.
It's about 80 pounds.
Yes.
And his little cassette recorder.
Yeah. All freaking
Wow.
Play and record.
Oh, how times have changed.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
you didn't have the audio
And I'm sure
stuff
that-
to run or your cell phone, what you catch using that as a camera. You had that 80-pound camera, and hoping in a notebook was your best friend back then.
Open a notebook.
Yeah, hoping a notebook. And then the local cops would come after you'd had the permission and all the paperwork done. What are you doing? I'm doing an investigation for ghosts. What the hell is wrong with you? I'm like, nothing. I'm sorry. I have a paper that says I can do this.
I got a permission slip.
Yeah. I swear to God, I ain't crazy. They stamped it even.
Rachel, you were getting ready to say something?
Well, I was going to say, isn't like now like a haunted tourism like a big thing? Like people
They're huge.
City
Haunted ghost walks and all that are huge now.
Yeah, I've actually got kicked out of a place or two for bringing in some paranormal equipment. One place here in Minnesota is the Glen Sheen Mansion.
Oh.
And I got kicked out of there because I paid for their big tour. And then we're upstairs where the murder took place, and all of a sudden I pulled this out.
Oh.
And they weren't happy about that.
And she's like, "What are you doing?" I go, "Nothing. I'm looking for electricity." And she goes, "Sure." She goes, "That's a piece of ghost hunting equipment, isn't it?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "You can't have that in here." She goes, "You need to exit the building." So,
Oh.
all right. So,
That's awful.
That's not cool.
but before she kicked me out, I did get some pretty awesome readings that I think was pegging like you wouldn't believe. Crazy.
So could you walk us through your first investigation when you were taking these new people through? How did that go? Go a little bit more in depth into that.
Yeah. I mean, we were blown away.
How many? Interrupt 2 seconds. How many were with you?
About 11.
11?
Okay.
So it wasn't tremendously big group, which we wanted. We didn't want a group.
It's more
like,
the bigger it is, the more chances you get more interference with your stuff. The more people.
right.
Yeah.
Or run the risk that the activity just doesn't want to deal with.
Yep.
We've seen that before in other locations where we had to like break into smaller groups. We go away from the bigger group because we weren't getting activity, and as soon as we move out of the way and go to another end of the building, then we got activity. So yeah, that's why we kind of designed it that way. Some of them, there were a few that were actual members of another team that came on the investigation, so they kind of off and did their own thing, which we were completely fine with. And then we kind of had the novice hunters with us, and a couple of our other sort of paranormal investigators that we've gone on several investigations with, and we've had like a really good vibe with them. And we say that kind of makes all the difference. And so that was something that we really kind of impressed upon and set the tone about with like the group even beforehand, that it's all about like in our experience, it's all about like the group you have and how you connect, because that seems to like make the activity happen more. So we'll talk about that, but we kind of went over first, like, we always go over like the ground rules of like why we do what we do with them. And then we kind of did a tour of the location first and kind of
get a justify of everything. So kind of like a pre-investigation.
Yeah,
kind of similar.
Provided them ahead of time with like a map of the location and also some kind of background history. So they kind of knew what was on the property, because that's another kind of theory we've talked about, was that it's generally, you know, it's a hospital. It was a hospital, but it's not. It's like it's not just what the building is, but we're feeling like a lot of the times it could be the land.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That the activity is like attracted to, and on that particular property there, it's built upon limestone, and it has a running spring through
natural spring.
Spring.
So energize it more.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why it just was like, from the time before I'd been there, maybe less than 2 months before, from then to when we went, it was like there was an exponential leap in the amount of activity we saw. And I don't know, like, again, we were thinking like, well, maybe it's just the group we're with, like, that we just were that gelled together, that we just kept having these like experiences.
Yeah.
Activity kicking up. So it was pretty good. And then when we kind of divided it, the hospital is 3 levels, and we decided like we were going to do, you know, we first were going to do like do 3, 2, 1, but they had talked about that there was a caretaker who used to be on the property who died. He had died of diabetic complications right there in the little area that was his like apartment within the hospital. And so they said that usually he's only active to a certain amount of time, and then he just stops being active. And so they were saying we try to do like the first floor first. And then, so we just revised, and we're like, okay, we're good. We'll just do, you know, 1, you know, 2 and 3 instead of 3, 2 and 1, which, you know, it worked really well.
Yeah.
I think in all 3 levels we had activity.
Yeah.
Like that.
Nice.
The top floor, the 3rd floor, it used to be at one point, I think towards the end of the hospital's life, it became like a mental institution. And so when we went up there, like even on the tour immediately, like a bunch of us got like a real heavy, like, you know, hard to breathe on your chest. And I think there was probably like an unease. Does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds, yeah, it was wicked uncomfortable. Just, you know, immediately right after that.
Anyway, and we gave it like our best shot. And we did have some crazy stuff happen. I decided I was gonna, like, I got a whole pack of like 18, I think it was 18 cat balls. Yeah. All the way like down the hallway, because I was like, oh, I got this great idea, you know. But every time like a cat ball went off, it was the one that was furthest away from us. And I was like, can you light up the ones that are closer? And it would like maybe move one closer, but then it wouldn't come to the closest ones next to us. Okay. I kind of felt like that was pretty interesting. Yeah. But wow. So we had like throughout the night, it was just like we saw shadow figures. We've heard, we had actually one of the our other investigators, he was in the hallway where we were seeing the shadow figures. He went into one of the patient rooms, and it was a room where like 2 rooms adjoined, so they were connected. And he was in one room walking to the next, and all of a sudden we hear this loud bang, you know, and we were like, you know, we were all like, because the rest of us were all out in the hallway, and we were like, Jesus, you know, and we were like, what the hell was that? And it was something threw a cat ball at him, and it whizzed by his face. Whoa! Hit the wall and rolled out into the hallway. And then when it got in the hallway, it kind of like sort of like slowly came to kind of a stop, but then it continued to roll on by itself. Oh, wow. And we all watched it, and we were just blown away. We were like, what is happening? Yeah. Did
you get that on camera?
So now on these investigations, do you guys provide the equipment, or does everybody bring their own?
No, we provide the
Okay.
equipment.
So
Yeah.
then this leads to my next question.
Some did bring their own.
Okay.
But
A couple, yeah,
Then-
a couple of
then
them were
if-
like, we were impressed that they actually went on
Yeah.
and
Had
bought
it.
their own
Mhm.
stuff. And
So
were
then-
like, I bought the spirit box and
So who goes
You know,
through all
like
the
the-
evidence then? Do you break it up or?
Rachel.
I
You don't want me to go through the evidence. I'm looking at
There wasn't even no delay in that one.
Rachel. It all goes home with her.
She's like, my design, it goes with her.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
the little pack out part.
Do you do anything to cleanse you guys yourself after the investigation so spirits don't follow you home, or
Absolutely.
what do you guys do?
So one of the big things we do, and it goes to kind of like, you know, how we even start off the investigation. We always start off the investigation by kind of like introducing ourselves in the building, kind of like explaining why we're there. And almost on every time before we start, you know, investigating each floor, we did that same thing. And then we always like are setting an intention, like we're just here to communicate. We're not here to like hurt anyone. We're not here to like make any of you feel uncomfortable. And, you know, we just want to have a conversation because we treat them like they're people. Like
you treat them like treat them like the dead like they're alive when you go into an investigation.
Absolutely.
You show them with the same respect as you'd show somebody else that's alive.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
So-
then like towards the end of the investigation, we're always like we're saying we close down communication by, you know, thanking the spirits for speaking with us and giving us the activity they did, but they're and then we, you know, always say like, but this is your home.
Yeah, you are not welcome to follow us.
Yes,
Here.
you have to stay here.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
leave.
Yes.
We'll come back another time to visit, but this is where you stay, and we leave. And then as soon as we get outside, you know, we're, you know, saging ourselves primarily, but we always also like, we're usually wearing some sort of like protective stones too during the investigation.
Yeah, and we even provided all the novice investigators that came with us, provided them with protective stones and everything, and explained what they were for, and you know that we're not nuts. You know,
we're not.
You know?
This is for your safety. You see it goes through it.
They'll kind of look at you like this too, like,
What?
like the Charlie Brown. I got a rock.
I got a rock.
like, that's my favorite, by the way.
Yeah,
got a rock.
me too.
So,
Yeah.
Jen, we got a little bit on Rachel's background in paranormal. Can you tell us a little bit about yours?
Mine is super, super recent. I mean, really, I didn't really have any paranormal anything. Like I said, I've always been interested in it, but like I was one of those people that did not know that there was this whole community. I literally thought it was, you know, Zach Baggins, and that was like the extent of ghost hunting, you know. And so when I met Rachel, and we got to know each other, and she kind of started introducing me more into this world, I was like, this is really freaking cool. Like, you're a badass. How do I get involved in this? You know what I mean? Like, I have an investigation with you. And it just kind of went from there. You know, I was able to join her for a couple of investigations.
Okay.
And grew from there. So after my first one, I was hooked.
You were hooked.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your very, very first investigation?
My very, very first investigation, it was actually a really crazy night. It was December 9th of last year. I will never forget that day. And it was at the Red Boiling Springs, what is it? Thomas House. But that was also the same day that Tennessee got hit with all those tornadoes.
Okay.
So, yeah, like legit, as my husband and I are pulling out of the driveway, I hear the tornado sirens going off in Springfield. And he's like, it's okay. You know, I swear, I think we drove through a freaking tornado to get to this investigation. And when we get there, the Thomas house is under a tornado warning, so everyone's like hunkered
jeez.
down on the first floor, and I mean, it just kind of went from there. Everybody was excited though, because they were like, and once again, this isn't something I knew beforehand. With extreme weather, tends to energize paranormal activity. So, everybody was anxious about kind of like what was going to happen that night. And, we did get we got activity. I remember that was my first.
It was your first experience with dowsing rods, right?
Yeah, that's another question we were going to bring up. But can you tell us what the Thomas house is?
Yeah, it's an old hotel, right?
Okay.
Like a B&B. It's an old like bed and breakfast type of place.
It's been owned by a family and passed down for quite a number of years.
Okay.
Yeah, it's wicked cool. If you ever get the chance to check it out, definitely go.
And it's had a lot of history to the building, but I think a couple of different times, I know that like half of it like burned.
Okay.
There was a significant fire in the place. And I think even the lady who runs it, said, I think she talked about that she believes her sister haunts there.
Haunts the hotel.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's seen her a couple different times there.
Yeah. Very interesting.
In a mirror and stuff. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cool. It's a really cool place.
And actually, I think it's the, what is it? Ghost Hunt Weekends or something they regularly do they book the place at least once a month, maybe twice a month, and they do like weekend events there and stuff. So
okay.
So how did the idea of your group how you do this come about?
Lunchtime
lunch break.
Like I said, because I always use myself as kind of the example. Here's somebody who I always had an interest in this, the paranormal and anything,
spooky,
and I was like, I know there's more people like me who would love the opportunity to do this kind of stuff, but just don't even know where to begin. So, and that was just kind of where our group started. We just really want to make this type of experience accessible to more people who, really want to learn more and engage more and, maybe find their own path in this community. So, yeah.
Manchester, England. Hey.
Yeah, isn't that neat?
That's cool.
That is neat. Do you guys have different levels of training for people who are more experienced, unexperienced?
From your novice to someone who's done it before.
Yeah, we've kind of focused around like it being novice ghost hunters. Although, like you said, we had people from that are on other teams have come and they're experienced investigators, and so we kind of let them do
just
their
go
own
off
thing.
and do their own thing.
Yeah.
If they would, we were like, we would love for you to join us, but if you want to go investigate on your own, we completely understand that. So,
okay. Any advice for first-time investigators?
Oh, we had plenty of advice. I think one of the big things that we impressed upon them too was if you feel uncomfortable or you feel like not quite right or not quite yourself in a certain space, then it's okay to leave.
Yeah, trust your gut. Yeah,
and
you're
don't run. Don't run.
Yeah.
Never run.
Don't run. Right.
And we were so proud because actually one of them had she was profoundly affected on that third floor to where she was feeling like she was crying, but like on the verge of crying, but didn't feel like it was her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like something else was making her feel that way. And that was making her uncomfortable. And the first thing we asked, there's like, is this something that you feel like is too much for you, or do you want to leave? And she was like, no, I think I need to leave. Yeah. And so we're like, okay.
And we all packed up and we all left. So
All right.
We just left that floor. We went back to
that floor.
To that floor.
we didn't
We
leave
didn't
the
leave the
building
building. We
because
just
we were
left the
like,
floor.
oh.
Just left the floor.
I was like, we still got time on the clock here.
I guess we're done.
We still got 8 hours to go. It's only hour 1. Suck it
Yeah.
up.
But I mean, even though she went through that kind of experience, like she's already signed up for our next investigation.
The next two.
Oh, nice.
The next 2 investigations
Yeah.
they're doing. Yeah. She even though she went through that and that was like, you know, a very nerve-wracking moment for her. I think that she was like, I don't think she would have had it or done it any differently.
Mm-hmm.
So since we're talking about upcoming investigations, where are y'all going?
So our next upcoming one is towards the end of this month on the 28th. We're going to the Old Stone Jail in Franklin, Kentucky. And also right across the street from it is like a 2-for-1 investigation. So they have the Historical Society, both buildings are directly like right. One's on one side of the street, one's on the other, and they're both known to be haunted. In fact, that's where Jen had a pretty
that was I think that was my first like legitimate paranormal experience.
Okay. Well,
like
let's hear it.
Oh
Yeah.
Lord. Okay. So
in the historic one.
In the historical building, it's a 2-story building. And we were upstairs, and it's a it's kind of set up. It's a museum. It's set up like a museum, and we were in a small group, and doing. I think one of the guys was just we were playing with the cat balls, all that good stuff. And out of nowhere, I heard music, like music that would come from one of those wooden jewelry boxes from way back in the day. When you open it, like really, do whatever tune. And I kind of sat there and I was looking around and I looked at Rachel, and Rachel's looking at me, and I was like, "Did you hear that?" And she's like, "Yeah, I did." I'm like, "Okay, so I'm not losing my mind." And I was like, where is it coming from? And then Justin, who was another investigator up there, who we've actually become really good friends with since then, and they're the ones that have gone on multiple investigations with us, he heard it as well. And so we start looking, and then we hear it again, but from like the opposite end of the room.
Okay.
So we just scour the entire floor, and there was nothing. Like there was
nothing that
nothing.
Yeah, we couldn't find anything that could make that
noise.
Music.
Okay.
And he did have like the spirit talker app going at the time.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a crazy part too, when we were just
when we were walking out.
Yeah. You can tell that part.
So we couldn't figure it out. And we were walking out of the room, and it kind of leads you into a hallway to go down the stairs. And we were heading in that hallway towards the stairs. And I was like, man, I really wish that we could have figured out where that music was coming from. And he still had the spirit talker on, and it said the box. Like in real time, the spirit talker said the box.
Oh, wow.
So Justin was like, "Oh my God."
And you were like, did it say the box?
Yeah. So that was my first experience. And then my second one was across the street at the jail. There was the jail, and then there's the residence where the family lived, residence building.
The jailer's residence, yeah.
The jailer's residence. And we were in the room where the family, resided and slept and, did all their daily activities. And, I was sitting in a chair up against like a cabinet, and everybody else was in a circle. And everyone's kind of, we had the spirit box out, talking, asking questions. And this tapping noise, like in threes, was right behind me. I was trying to ignore it. I thought I was losing my damn mind. So I just, I was just like, nope, that's not really happening. This isn't
like doing it in like response to our question.
Yeah, the question.
Like, if you're here, can you make a noise? And all of a sudden we hear like
tap, tap,
three
tap.
taps,
Yeah.
And we're like looking around, and we're like, did y'all hear that?
I
And
figure out where
like,
it's coming from.
and then we're like, well, if that was you, can you do it again? And it does it like again on command. And we're like, Jen, is that coming from like your area? And she goes, she's just like white, like she goes, We were like,
Yeah.
is that on the glass? She was like, it's on the glass right behind my head, right behind her head.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she was like, you could almost like hear it and feel it, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
I was-
crazy. But then at the same time as that was happening, we felt like on the floor, like as if kids were running around the room. The floor was vibrating.
Mhm.
And I felt like where it felt like something jumped, like something jumped against me. And
Wow.
Justin was next to me on the floor, and he felt the same thing. And he said, "It's the
Mhm.
kids. It's the kids that are here." He
Yeah,
kind
they're
of
trying to
felt a
play
little bit
with
more.
you.
He's definitely more has like some mediumship abilities.
Okay.
And so he's like, "It's the kids. It's the kids that are here." It was the family. They're the children of the family that were here. And so, but yeah, like after that, you were like, I need a break. I need a break.
Yeah, I was pretty.
I'm not doing this today. I'm not doing this.
I truly contemplated going back in for the rest of that investigation. I was pretty freaked out, but that's when we're going back at the end of
Why
this.
am I doing this?
Yeah, but I'm anxious to get back because that's where we're going at the end of this month.
That's what happens always. You get anxious for going on investigations.
Yeah.
Have you ever caught any shadow figures?
Yeah.
Yes.
You did. So what are your thoughts on shadow figures? What do you think they are?
We were just talking about this today at lunch.
We were. Yeah, that's because the last 2 nights I've been I'm now like co-hosting on another podcast, and so we had last night we had an astronomer who he also is a field investigator for MUFON, which is the Mutual UFO Network. But he is so knowledgeable, and he was talking about what some of science's theories are around the universe, and how they believe that now they're discovering that there's multiple dimensions, and that when these dimensions somehow he kind of used his hand in the other hand, and he's kind of like, when it pokes through like that from one dimension to the other, he said that's what you might call a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
is he from?
Jen and I were talking about it, and I said it's almost like maybe it's more the shadow people that we come across often, that those could be maybe interdimensional, because you don't see, they're typically just complete, like void of any light to them, and sometimes they're either like just standing there observing, or they're backing away from you when you come towards them. It's not like, not like they're trying to engage completely. They're it's like they're standing there observant, but they're not like, I'm going to engage with you guys. We caught a pretty interesting one in our investigation at Octagon Hall.
Yeah.
On thermal camera. It was
nice.
It was like almost as tall as the doorway. So it was probably about 6 feet tall. And it was just sitting there, and we couldn't see it with the regular like IR camera, but with the thermal camera, it was there. And I got it and I got it in still pictures, and it was so much colder than everything else. And it was in the perfect shape of a person.
Okay.
Yeah. We had another investigator walk in as we were recording it, and he's like, "Oh my God," he could see it, on Rachel's thermal. He was like, "Holy crap, do you see that? Do you see that?" And Rachel's like, "What do you think I'm recording?"
I was like, "Yes, I freaking see it."
That's funny.
That is.
He was blown away.
He was really excited, though. He was really excited. It was cool.
Yeah, he asked me, which I did. He asked me to send him. Could I send him any of the pictures? And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll share that with you." And he was like, "Oh my God, that's so amazing! Like, I can't believe I got that." And I think, like, since that was my birthday gift, my husband got for me was my thermal camera. And I think it was the best. Like, it paid for itself. Like the very first time I went out and investigated with it, because it just like you see things that we can't see with our normal human sight.
Yeah.
like heat and stuff.
Why? Another question for you, ladies. Why do you think spirits stay at a location and not at other locations? If something, why are they here? Why ain't they 2 blocks down at the house next door that had something happen, but there's no spirit there? What's your thought on that?
I mean, I have a couple of, I think we've talked about this too before. My whole like theory around it is that I think, people subscribe to the theory that like maybe because there's trauma or something that they're attached to the property for some reason. But I think that as a spirit, you're just energy and you have the free will to come and go as you please.
Go, yep.
And so I'm kind of like, well, maybe they did, like, there's something that on the property that is attracting them. Either they live there or, or it reminds them of some place that they lived before and they just like to visit there. I mean, if I was, to die tomorrow by my spirit, I'd probably go, back and visit my family and those kinds of things all the time.
Yeah.
So.
As an investigator, I've heard over the years that cemeteries aren't actually haunted. What do you think about that?
I think they're haunted.
Yeah. I think
a lot of people over the years, that there's nothing there, they're not going to be there. Well, a spirit's most prized possession in this whole world is their body, and that's where their body is. But then they'll say, well, it doesn't matter. They died at this location, so their spirit's stuck there. But I go by what you're saying too, is that they have free will to move where they want to move. They find a place they like, they're just going to attach themselves to that, and they're not going to leave.
Yep.
One cemetery, when I was probably about 15, 16, when I started doing this before all these ghost shows, I rode my bike to a cemetery. My very, very first EVP was a baby crying. And that's basically what started me getting into it a little more, but it broke the living hell out of my heart when I heard that. I'll never forget that to this day.
Yeah.
Never forget it. And I was the only one in the cemetery, and it was a 3-hour recording. And that was the only EVP I got that day. And I still actually have the original recording on my little VHS tape. I feel old.
Yeah, are you dating yourself there?
Yeah, I'm a little old. I'm not old as Troy, but I'm a little old.
Troy got thrown under the bus.
So why you sit not a question.
You know what? It's a ritual every time we podcast.
It makes it fun.
Yeah. But ladies talking about the graveyard and stuff, and what Davey was saying, what you ladies were saying. Your body is the most sacred thing that you have. Mm-hmm. But then when you go out to graveyards, you actually run into something like that.
Wow. That's solid almost.
That's crazy.
We didn't see it with our own eyes. We caught it after the video replay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It wasn't there. It was pretty freaky after going through it.
What was going through your head when you saw that?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just running through. I was going through the evidence, and I called Troy right away, and I said, "Troy, you ain't gonna freaking believe what I just caught because we didn't see it. I did not see it when I was walking, holding the camera, doing it. I didn't see nothing. But then when I was sitting at home going through the evidence that night, what the heck is that?"
That's crazy.
And then shortly after we got that, I saw that thing in the EVP we got from that night, from that day, from that was, "I'm going to get you. You're all ours."
Yep.
Oh.
And it was clear as freaking day. The video is actually, I do believe it's on our Facebook.
Yeah, it is.
So it's pretty, and we couldn't recreate it. We couldn't find anything. We went back and tried to debug it as best as we could. There was nothing that resembled it.
But then when we went back again, have you ladies ever done the Etsy method?
Oh, yep, Etsy.
Okay. I was doing one.
Yeah.
Oh, Etsy. Okay.
Etsy.
Okay.
Etsy is like
that thing.
Yeah, we've done both.
You've done both. Daniel's looking at me like, what?
We're from Minnesota.
We're from Minnesota, so that's all right.
We got that northern talk.
So we were sitting there doing it, and I was the guinea pig that night, and we were by this grave, and it was just before Dave asked, "Are you evil?" all you could hear in a very malevolent voice whisper say, "He's all mine."
Yeah, I remember that one.
So
that was pretty good.
That was a good one.
Do y'all literally? Do you guys like believe that they're evil?
There's evil people.
Yeah.
If they're evil in life, they're evil in death. They're not going to change.
Exactly what we
say
talked
the
about.
same exact thing.
Yeah, girl.
Because I don't, we don't believe that everything is a demon. Like
no, that happens maybe once in 100 times that's actually a demon when you have an evil a haunting. I can't speak, okay? But most of the time it's just an evil spirit that was a grumpy old man or woman when they were alive. They're a grumpy old man or woman when they die. That's why lots of times you have stuff happen during house remodels. I'm going to say that because apparently I can't say whatever.
Renovation.
Yes. So that they get pissed off. Hey, this is my house. You can't be doing that. Stop making fun of me.
Oh my God.
Okay. I have to apologize for what's going on in the background here. I don't know if you guys can hear that. There's like we heard a high-speed chase go by. Could be too.
It's Brainerd.
Yes. It sounded like a high-speed chase went by.
Yeah, I went by earlier.
And
oh my God.
So just apologize for that. There's like
cop sirens and lights
and lights and everything else going on. That's why I keep looking over, because I see it out of the corner of my eye, and here I am getting all excited.
So during any of your investigations, have you ever ran into anything being moved or seeing stuff being moved?
I haven't, not yet. Not me.
Just like we've seen the cat ball that.
Oh yeah, you're right. The cat ball. The cat ball. Yeah. Yeah, that was.
I
think that's it for now. So far.
Oh, we got an interesting one on our last investigation.
Yeah.
Oh,
and the drawer too, and Black Lake.
Oh yeah, Black Lake. The drawer kept moving out
for no reason. We debugged it. You'd have to tug on it to make it move out, and it just slide out by itself.
Slide out nice and easy.
And that entity at that house just hated Troy. It got so mad about Troy being there. I don't know if it was because he was Native American that he was pissed that it was pissed about a different tribe.
Oh, probably. Yeah,
they did not like you.
Yep. I started talking a little bit of Ojibwe, and
he got more pissed.
It seemed like it got even more mad, more angry with him.
That lake was a big Native American war. They threw a lot of the dead natives into the two tribes that were fighting into the lake there, and it had burial mounds all over the place there, so that they didn't know if it was a haunting from the natives being there and that, or if it was something else. But it didn't like Troy. It absolutely hated him.
And if you watch some of our videos on like YouTube and Facebook and whatever, you're going to find out and you're going to see that almost every investigation we go on, they don't like me.
Yeah, they don't like Troy.
They don't.
And Brandon, if you're watching, tonight has been a good night because I have not touched the computer, so the electronics have not broke. So just to let you know, Brandon. Because every time I touch anything, it breaks.
It breaks. Like he'll touch something and one of you guys will like disappear. But we'll still hear you.
Or it'll just shut off for no reason. And then my girlfriend for Christmas, she got me this camera thing holder for my phone. I broke it within 30 seconds when we were doing the podcast.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
that was at my house.
Yeah, she still don't know.
Well, she does now.
She might now.
I don't know. She might not be watching, thank God. Heather, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Troy made me do it.
We were talking about objects being moved. Our last investigation we actually did here at M.A.P.S headquarters. And one of our investigators was actually holding. Oh, before I tell you this, I should tell you that we actually came into possession of a haunted artifact that was actually in Ed and Lorraine Warren's museum.
Oh,
Oscar.
Wow.
It's Oscar the pig. It's Oscar the pig. He's really cute. I'll show you Oscar.
I didn't have Oscar. I was going to bring him, but I drove the other car.
Give me
He's in your car.
Well, I was gonna bring him. I had actually took my other car instead of that one because I was gonna bring him here today. I didn't grab I drove the other car and I didn't drive that one with Oscar in it. Oh God.
So,
Oh my gosh.
this is Oscar the pig.
Okay.
He's a 10-year-old boy.
Isn't he adorable?
He's a 10-year-old boy. Is the spirit that's attached to him.
Aw.
And the backstory behind that is his grandmother made that for him when he was 10.
Mm-hmm.
But also when Oscar was 10, he
His grandma died first and became orphaned.
And then he became orphaned.
Oh.
Well, somehow
he ended up in an orphanage.
A fire broke out, and poor little Oscar didn't make it out of the fire. But when they found his body, they actually found this crocheted pig next to him, unscathed,
which was missing for almost a year.
Missing for a year,
and it just showed up.
So, and then
got goosebumps.
we came into possession of it. So back to that, what I was saying, how he moves. They say that he moves, he talks, and you can actually smell smoke.
And you'll smell smoke when he's very active.
Coming from him. One of our investigators, named Leah, was holding Oscar on her lap, and she was doing the Etsy method.
Talking like me now.
And our cameraman Brandon asked, he goes, "Oscar, are you tired?" And right when he said that, very slowly Oscar's head turned and looked right at me.
Yeah, you can see his head moving.
You can see his little head move.
We actually, the original person that owned Oscar, they did multiple times trying to set him free to let him go. Just help him pass on, but he doesn't want to leave. So he refuses to leave the teddy bear. So
yeah,
it's a pig, dude.
Oh, pig, whatever. Potato.
It's a pig, dude.
What did you do? Don't break the computer. Brandon, Joy did it.
That was my fault.
So how can anybody get a contact with you guys to get stuff set up?
Yeah.
They go on investigations with you.
Yeah. A couple different ways. We have a website, which is simply Sinster Sisters Paranormal.com.
Okay. I'll get Brandon
also
to get that up tomorrow.
We're also on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, perfect.
Sinster Sisters Paranormal.
Okay.
See, Brandon was here. He'd be putting it in the thingies that go
he'd
by.
Be doing it right now.
I don't touch because I break.
No touchy.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. So I'm just sitting here.
It's really hard for him to just sit here too because he's all fidgety.
Well, last time we had Shatner on, I was sitting there clicking a goddamn pen during the freaking thing. I didn't even know I did it.
Yeah. Then he tells me to stop clicking my pen.
Yes, because Dave Shatner called me clicky Davy pen.
So have one question that's been running through my head since we started this. Since you guys have been doing this, have any of you guys ever been attacked?
That's a good question.
No, the only weird thing.
I love this story.
Talk about Brushy.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
So we went to Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary. It's pretty well known, as being haunted. It's had a lot of history, a lot of different things. Because it had Native American all the way, way before there was the prison there, and the building is now kind of like dilapidated. I guess they moved all the prisoners out of there because it was just like they couldn't keep it up anymore, and the building was just getting too old. But there was one area that we went to that they actually call the Hole. And so there's like a separate building from the main prison block. And you have to actually go downstairs into like what is like this basement. In this basement, then there are like 3 cells that are kind of in the really, it's nasty. It's dark. It's really dank.
It's just muggy.
It's just gross in there.
Yeah.
And we had a couple of investigators were sitting in each of the three. So there was one in each of the three cells. And then there was one guy who was outside of the cells and kind of like the little walkway in front of them. And then he was filming them. And I was like behind him. And then the rest of the investigators were out kind of in the other room.
Yeah, I wouldn't go in there. Nope.
It was outside there. So I was behind him and I was just watching and listening. And then all of a sudden I feel like what feels like a hands or fingers or something just touch my butt.
Oh, jeez.
And then I came out of there. I didn't run, but I came out of there. I'm like, nope. I was like, that is not
cool. Not cool.
Oh, wow.
So we'd like to joke. It's like our inside joke where I was like, it was touched on the butt in the hole, but not the.
Wow, that's funny.
That's great.
Yeah.
Since I've been doing this, I've been scratched. I've been bit.
Yeah.
I've been
pushed, tripped, pulled. When you had longer hair.
You name it. It did it.
Have you had anything ever follow you home yet?
No.
Oh, my girlfriend so doesn't believe in this. She's just absolutely no. If you ever bring anything home, David, you're leaving. I can't even bring Oscar in the house. She says no. But you don't believe in this. She doesn't. She doesn't believe in it. She's a big, huge skeptic. But I said, honey, you don't believe in it. So what's the big deal?
Mm-hmm.
If you wake up on the bed and he's looking at you, well, I guess you're gonna believe, correct? I hate you. The sucky thing is for me is
bed with you in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I hate my problem. Yeah, looking at you. My bad luck though is I hate dolls. I terribly to the T hate dolls.
I love dolls.
My freaking brother.
I want to find I want a haunted doll so bad.
My brothers, when Chucky came out in the early 80s, I was probably like 4 or 5. And it scared. I wasn't supposed to watch it, but of course, an idiot I watched it, and I got petrified of that movie. My brothers went out and got a freaking Chucky doll and recorded the damn movie every time he talked and hid underneath my bed, and I screamed like a little you-know-what. And to this day, I still can't stand dolls. Nope.
My mom did the same thing when that movie It came out. That thing scared the hell out of me. So she found this porcelain clown from Mexico or something, and she would set it up all over the house where she knew I would find it.
You heard Elf on the Shelf. It was Clown on the Shelf.
Yeah, that damn clown, and she still has it to this day.
That's creepy. Ish. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
I feel like I'm desensitized or something. Because I've watched all those movies, and I think Chucky's a little punk.
Now that I'm older, I don't mind watching this stuff.
Yeah.
But to this day, I still have issues with my kids having a doll sitting in the bedroom or sitting in the house, and I'm sitting there by myself in the dark watching TV. Is that freaking thing looking at me? Mm-hmm. I swear I seen its eyes move.
little does he know that little doll's head does this number.
Yeah, Jesus.
You will be gone.
Yeah, I would run. I wouldn't even go back in the house. Nope, not doing this today. Nope. David, where are you? I am at the freaking hotel.
I don't know if you've ever seen on TikTok, but there's some funny pranks that people do to scare, and they'll record it. And one is with a doll, and they'll do fishing line with it, and it'll be sitting there, and they'll be watching TV, and all of a sudden they'll just have it raise up and start moving towards them, and they run so fast out of the room screaming. It's hilarious.
I'm against the running of anything paranormal, but if that freaking doll starts moving and talking to me, I'm freaking running like you don't know what. If Troy's next to me, I'm tripping him and I'm running.
Yeah, trip him and say,
so it gets me so he can get away.
I love you too, buddy.
Alrighty, ladies, it has been a pleasure having y'all with
It's
us.
been a pleasure talking to you
God,
guys
you guys
as
are
well.
so much fun. I do have one last question for you, ladies. Just one. Would you be interested in coming back on our show again?
Oh,
Absolutely. We'd love that.
Perfect. Oh, we would love to have you.
And then I'll get Brandon to get all your stuff up on our page and that, because obviously you don't want me to do it because it'll be screwed up. The computer will be dead for like a week. It's bad.
Yeah.
We'd love to come and do an investigation together. Would be fun.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I got some pretty good locations.
Yeah, that would be awesome as well. I would
Yeah,
love
we
that.
could try out, that
meet
Etsy
somewhere in the
method.
middle.
Yeah.
The Etsy method.
Yeah.
Oh, one more quick question. Most
Yeah.
haunted place in Tennessee?
What?
Ooh,
What's
most
the most
haunted.
the place where you're
Most
located at?
place in Tennessee?
Haunted.
Probably,
Yes.
probably brushy is going to be.
Yeah, I'd say probably brushy.
Can you give us a pop little info on that? What that place is?
That's
Oh.
the penitentiary. the
Okay.
state.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. Well, if you want to hold on and
Um,
chit chat before the show's done, when it's done, if you want,
Yep,
unless Troy
um,
has something.
Yep.
Yeah,
Before I go, I got to give a
even
couple
you guys
shout-outs.
can come on my other show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Email us
yeah.
info. Email us. We'll get something set up.
Yep.
Yeah,
I got to
that
give a
would
couple
love that.
shout-outs here. First, though, Paranormal Paul. Yes, I still want to do an investigation with you. I know last time I called you Paranormal Joe. I was looking at Joe, our other investigator.
Bloody hell.
I know, right? Amy and Tanya from the Soul Seekers Paranormal ladies up in Canada. Fantastic. Know you guys are watching. Chris, my sister, she's been with us since day one. Always watching. Pops, Coda, Megan, Princess Leah, everybody watching. And I do want an apology to the Post Network because I actually said a swear word on our investigation.
What the heck, man?
I know I said the F word. Yeah.
Naughty.
That's a no-no. Everybody, thank you for joining us. Everybody have a
great
fantastic night.
Let's see if I don't screw this up.
And he's gone.
Yeah.
I saw the American flag, the folded. Did one of you serve?
No, that was actually at one of our investigations
Oh, okay. Okay.
that we did.
That's cool.
And my